I hate it when old people poke me at weddings, point and whisper, and are like, "You're next." So I've started doing the same to them at
Time to
funerals.
take it home here on Fourth and Pain, the only football and pro wrestling show to be hosted by an NFL player and a weight loss champion. Redskins defensive end Adam Carriker is with me.
You're listening to Fourth and Pain, and I always have to carry the show, but that's okay, because I'm the man of 1,004 catchphrases. Take that, Stinko, Chuck Carroll.
Wow. Wow. Two Y2J shout out and vintage at that. I like that. You dug deep in your Nitro knowledge there. Kudos, my man.
Well, I know you love to slip you some Jericho.
Former wrestling announcer, weight loss champion, and Y2J-aholic Chuck Carroll here. Be sure to give the show a follow at Fourth and Pain, where we tweet out new shows each and every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And Adam, this is the Fourth and Pain family segment. Time for you listeners to ask us questions. We'll give you our answers. And so we are going to start, my man. We are going to start with a question from Ralph in Newport News. Hit us up at facebook.com/Fourth and Pain. He wants to know, will it be harder for the Redskins to make cuts this year, given they didn't have a typical third preseason game? I assume he's talking about that condensed schedule where you have 10 games or 3 games in the final 10 days of the preseason.
Yeah, they played on a Monday, Saturday, and then a Thursday right in there. I don't think so. The fourth preseason game will be the same, or didn't change. It was the same. And what's interesting is Shanahan does the preseason a little bit different typically anyways. He typically treats the second game more like the third game, and the third game more like the second game, which is opposite of what most coaches do. So I don't think it'll be that hard.
All right, next question from Will on the tweeters at Fourth and Pain. Is the league actually doing more harm than good with the new safety rule? He said that it seems like there's been a lot more injuries since a lot of these rules have been implemented.
There's been a lot of debate lately. Is there more knee injuries because guys are trying to go low? They're worried about receivers ducking their heads and they don't want to get a head-to-head penalty/fine. Then there's been a debate, would I rather get hit in the head or the knee? Coming from a guy sitting with a knee injury and a guy who's been knocked a little woozy, I don't want to get hit in either. But this is football. We know what we sign up for when we play this game. My response to the actual question, is it helping or not, because there's been more injuries? My response is, when you're flying around, when you're not worried about anything, when you're going balls to the wall, that's when people don't get hurt. When you're hesitating, when you're not going all out, when you're a little precautionary, that's when guys tend to get hurt. And I think maybe guys have tried to slow down a little bit, trying to prevent these fines. Ergo, maybe you're seeing more injuries because of that.
All right, last question here. Cheryl in Bellevue, obviously a Nebraska fan, because she asks, what do you think the Cornhuskers' record will be this year?
Now I've got this. I've got the schedule in front of us. Wyoming, Southern Miss should be wins. UCLA, big redemption game at home in Lincoln. I think we'll get that win. South Dakota State, Illinois, Purdue, Minnesota. Those all should be wins. Northwestern's always underrated. That's in Lincoln, though. We should start off 8-0. At Michigan's going to be tough. If I have to pick a loss, it'll probably be at Michigan. Michigan State and Penn State will be tough. I think this is the year that we see a Nebraska team with Taylor Martinez as a Heisman candidate finally win a conference championship for the first time since 1999 and get to a BCS game for the first time since 2001. I am thinking that this is the year the black shirts start playing like the black shirts and we have a legit Heisman contender. And Nebraska, there's always a loss in there too that you don't expect, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think there may even be some wins in there that people don't expect. And what's nice this year is we don't have to play Ohio State, Wisconsin twice. They gave us Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, Wisconsin twice last year. The schedule last year was ridiculous. This year is much easier. I think Nebraska has a legit chance this year.
High expectations, man. I'm going to be sure to play that back for you come December, come bowl season. But that's then. This is now. Let's transition. Let's bring in the Pulse, your wife, Angie Carriker, for the Pulse, I should say, here on Fourth and Pain. By far and away my favorite segment of the week. Why? Because so frequently it has nothing to do with football or sports or anything like that. And this week's segment is no exception. This has to do with some of the things that you get in the mail at Redskins Park. And with that, Angie, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us. And so when I was out at the Carriker compound this past week.
Compound?
The compound. The Carriker compound. You live on a palatial estate, my man. It is vast and it is impressive.
Hey, real quick story. Real quick short story. I was at a hospital. This lady was rude to me, insulted me. I didn't say much to her, but I heard her later say that she's a polygamist. Well, then you know me. I'm I don't mind throwing around some sharp words. I immediately wanted to say, hey, why don't you go back to your compound and 23 other wives you got? But I did not. I restrained myself. All right, back to the poll, sorry.
That is the last time I then refer to that as the Carriker compound. So anything, the weird things Adam gets in the mail. So I saw this one thing Angie was in a hurry to show me, and you know what? I'm not even going to begin to describe it, so I'm just going to let you two rap about it.
Well, Angie, I hate email. I hate going through mail, so Angie always does it for us. In fact, people give me crap because we have a joint email account. I don't see why that's a bad thing, but this guy's 40 and single that was giving me crap. But anyways, she goes through all this stuff, and why don't you just tell some of the interesting things or some of the things that we get typically on a daily basis from at Redskins Park, my mail?
Your typical, they'll send you cards, and they want you to autograph them, and then they'll give you an envelope to send it back. Sometimes they want you to give them something, whether it's memorabilia, money, anything like that. Interesting one about the Redskins name, a guy wrote, and I think he wrote it to all the players, said it individually to them all, and wanted you players to petition to get the name changed. That it's very racial, and it was just really interesting. And then the topper of it all was the compression shorts that say, it's time to protect your balls, I believe.
Yeah, we get people asking us for money. We get people saying the, anti-Redskins name, pro-Redskins name. But the funniest one we got, it's, I'm holding it here. It's G1 compression shorts with G-Port technology on the back. Chuck took some pictures. We'll put them up on Fourth and Pain. Be kind to your balls, and it's even got a little sack of testicles in the word balls, and it says step-by-step directions. Put on compression shorts. Unzip G-Port zipper. Put genitalia through G-Port. Zip up the G-Port zipper. This undergarment, blah, 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 blah. Once the body warms up, the scrotum sac will expand to regulate its temperature. Once this occurs, optimum comfort will be achieved. And there's even pictures and directions with, a little scrotum going through the G-Port hole and all that. It's very interesting. Very interesting.
Very interesting. Very graphic. Ange, I'm just very interested real quick to get your opinion on the photo that was included in this pamphlet before we let you go.
A little shocked. I was like, oh my goodness.
Very visual.
That it was. And you didn't have to pay $9.99 a month to get this one.
Oh, boy.
So, all right. Angie Carriker, sifting through the mail at Redskins Park. We greatly appreciate your time. Look forward to having you on again next week.
Thank you, sweetie.
Thanks.
Angie Carriker. Be sure to give her a follow at Angie Carriker on the tweeters. Always a fun follow there. Adam, just a couple of minutes left in the show. A few questions left. Let's bang them out, man.
Let's hit our Ask a Weight Loss Champion segment. We've got Steve from Williamsburg, fourthofpain.com. How do you lose weight and get stronger at the same time?
All right. This is a difficult one, and one that I actually had to focus on when I set out to actually lose all of this weight. That was the big thing. How can I maintain all of this strength while still losing weight? Very, very, very difficult to do. And I'm going to be honest, I wasn't able to maintain all of the muscle mass I had at 420 pounds. Obviously, now at a svelte 160, there's zero chance that I was going to be able to maintain that Herculean Adam Carriker strength. So what I did was I just ate as much protein as I possibly could, and I did as many push-ups as I possibly could to try to maintain as much of that strength as I possibly could. The fact of the matter is, to me anyway, it's more important to be cardiovascular fit than it is to be Herculean and strong. So just do what you can to maintain that muscle mass and you're going to be okay. And then after you lose the weight, you can always bulk back up.
Chuck just told you how, but I will say I've weighed 315 the past couple years. I now weigh 300 and I'm stronger than I've ever been. And I've done it without even being able to run. So it is possible, folks. Next, Ask a Weight Loss question from Sarah at Fourth and Pain. Give us a follow. My knees hurt. How do I keep exercising and lose weight without hurting my knees more?
All right, difficult one. You can always do something that's less impactful on the knees. You can switch from running on the treadmill. Give yourself a break. Just go for a walk or use that elliptical, something that's a little lower impact, something that's not going to hurt those joints nearly as much. And then a tip that Adam actually gave me is that you're going to want to fill up these styrofoam cups with water. You know, these little styrofoam cups, you get them everywhere. You put those in the freezer, and then you get this tremendously large ice cube, and then you rub that ice on your knee for about 8 to 10 minutes. That'll help reduce the risk of tendonitis specifically, will help reduce the swelling and that inflammation, help you feeling a lot better, get you back to running a lot quicker. So those are my tricks. You just kind of dial it down for a little while and be sure to ice it up as well. And Adam, final question for you comes from my man John in Camp Springs. Left a comment on our YouTube channel, says, in the weightlifting tip this week, you said that you were doing heavy shoulder dumbbell presses, and some people say yes, do them. Some people say don't do them. How do I know whether they're right for me?
A lot of people like to talk in generalities, and I'm going to give you a specific way to know whether you should or should not do them. And you can't see me right now because with an interview, our technology won't let us show you right now. But basically, I was told over the phone, and I understand how to do it. Stand up or sit, stand up, put your back to the wall, put your hands straight in the air. If your arms, the back of your arms can lay flat against the wall, you can do a dumbbell shoulder press without hurting yourself. Also, your biceps should be right next to your ear. If you can do that with your arms touching your bicep next to your ear and it's not painful, you can do a dumbbell shoulder press. If not, I would not do it yet.
There you go. Last question. Hit us up always, fourthandpain.com or at fourthandpain. But with that, we are fresh out of time.
I'm Adam Carriker. I have the largest arms on the D-line. On behalf of my lovely bride and the weight loss champion himself, Mr. Chuck Carroll, thank you for being a part of the Fourth and Pain family.